Welcome to the Alabama CPA podcast. I'm your host, Rob Pearson, and we're recording live at the annual meeting for the Alabama Society of CPAs, and I'm very honored to be joined by our President and CEO, Janine Birmingham, and a past chairman of the AICPA, Carla McCall, and it is such a pleasure having you here in Alabama and being part of our annual meeting, Carla, and I don't really know where to start, to be honest with you, but except for welcome to Alabama. I know you've been here before, but this is certainly a great view of the city here at the club here in Birmingham.
Yeah, this is an amazing venue. I was at Balance Sheet Bash a couple of years ago in Montgomery, and just grateful for the ask to be here this morning and talk about the profession. What an engaged crowd you have. Impressive.
We do. Janine is maybe one of the best attended annual meetings that we've had, and I know it's because Carla's speaking.
It is definitely because of Carla, yeah. It's our 107th annual meeting. We've been at the club since we brought back annual meeting to an in-person event post the pandemic. And yes, we have the largest crowd that we've had for a number of years, and we've got an awesome lineup of speakers, and Carla kicked us off, which was awesome.
Yeah, and I have to say, I've traveled all over the country. I've gone to a lot of meetings. I've never seen this many educators in an annual meeting before. When you had them raise their hand, I was blown away. So good for you. You're doing something right there.
Yeah. It's super important to us to include both students. We have high school teachers and some of our educators at the higher education level here with us today, because so much of what we do, has always been integrated into their part of the pipeline into workforce development in Alabama. And Alabama has a really strong system of accounting programs and educators.
Amazing.
I'm very proud of that.
I am curious, sort of along that front, because we do have a great partnerships with our higher education partners, and as I mentioned in our talk, Janine, our colleges rank in the top 5 consistently on preparation for the CPA exam here in the state of Alabama. But from your perspective, you're from the Northeast, and you've certainly served at AICPA at the highest level, and the pipeline issue has been something that's been top of mind for everyone around the country in the AICPA. Do you see things that, I hate to sort of put you on the spot about Alabama, what is it that Alabama's doing right? And then, maybe what could we be on the lookout for to try to do better?
Yeah, I think with the amount of transformation that we have going on today, we are on a hockey stick curve up with how we have to upskill, reskill, prepare college grads. And I think the coordination between the professors, who are, by the way, our first line of defense. Mm-hmm. So there's enrollments are up. I prefer to track graduating accounting students, right? Because a lot of people enroll, but they don't ever make it to graduating with the degree. And the professors sometimes are the ones that have the biggest influence in that. How do we pull in students, right? And so the intersection between us as a profession, the AICPA, firm leaders, because we have to play our part, and coordinating with the professors and making sure they understand what are the skills that we look for today. How do we prepare students? What are how are they going to be working today, and to keep that external view for professors is so critical. And I'm not sure that that's always happened. And I hate to paint a broad brush. I think some universities are better than others, but I will tell you, I'm in a university in Boston. We have lots of top universities there, and it's a little bit all over the place of whether students are prepared for the work today or not. And I think professors keeping that external view is really important. Just to see so many in the room hearing what's happening that they could bring back to their curriculum and classroom is really impressive.
I think that the Profession Ready, I remember that, is it Profession Ready?
Profession Ready Initiative.
Yeah, initiative, thank you, because we get a lot of acronyms in this business.
PRI.
But talk about that a minute. 'Cause Profession Ready, the AICPA, in coordination with several others, are doing what they can to sort of bridge the gap in this day and age with AI and different things that people worry may hurt students coming out of college when they get into the workforce. Are they going to be ready? Well, the AICPA has under your leadership, sort of started bridging that gap. How do we get those professionals from a graduate, even newly licensed CPA, to actually being a productive member of a firm or where they're going to work?
Right. Yeah, I mean, what the AICPA did research, right? So employers across all specters of the profession, right? Where are we seeing the lack of skill, and going to students, and recent grads, and where could you have maybe been better prepared when entering your career for the first time? And so taking that data and then creating sort of a path, right, a curriculum that we can make sure that the colleges and universities are aware of, they're incorporating, and this will be a constant process, right, as we evolve, because I'm sure it'll change over time, but really taking, okay, what do we as employers see? What do the students see that they're lacking? How do we marry those together? And then how do we create pathways, tools, training in order to better prepare students on day one, basically? But it's moving quick. So I'd say, it's a work in process, right? I mean, did I miss anything, Janine?
No, you didn't. And honestly, I wish that those of us who are already licensed could take a step back and experience some of these tools that will now be available to the entering workforce. I think it's going to be key to that transition and to fill that void of what we do here from the workforce saying, students are lacking X, and the students saying, we're clearly ready for Y. Well, there's that gap, and some of these tools through the Profession Ready initiative are definitely going to be fun. They're going to be intelligent tools that our students can work with, learn from, learn their own mistakes, and be better prepared to come in ready to serve the profession.
I know. We've been talking about simulation training for a long time. Is it really going to happen?
I can't wait.
I know.
I can't wait.
But I think it's available to firms of all sizes, too. I mentioned that as well. This is geared as much for the smaller practitioners who are bringing on new professional staff as it is the larger professionals.
Yeah, I really want to put an exclamation point on that, because the AICPA is keenly aware. The large firms, Big Four, the top 100, they have deep pockets to kind of do their own thing. The AICPA is so honed in on, okay, how do we bring this to market for the 43,999 other firms that are out there, right? And because they don't have the resources, the owners are in the business, they're working in the business, they don't always have that time to sort of recreate and implement. And so they have a lot of tools and white papers and all of that. I want to plug the PCPS Private Company Practice section. It is built for small firms. I sat on that as a larger firm and contributed collateral, competency matrix, and different ideas and things like that. The AICPA then puts into toolkits that are more plug and play for small firms. And so I heard today from Paul, rising tides, raise all ships, right? And how we work together as a profession, because we are not run by the Big Four, we're not run by the top 100. We all have to do well for the profession to thrive.
Right, and that's kind of our voice as a state society, as an association, is to be that collaborative voice of everybody in all roles, not just the public practice side, but certainly the business, industry, and government side. And they recruit just as many young people as our firms do, so they too benefit from all of these resources that will, again, help prepare that workforce for what's next, what they're about to enter into.
So now we get the workforce into the job. What are the trends now? I know remote work got really hot.
Oh, you love this topic.
And COVID, and sort of back to work now. There's a lot of what are you seeing around the country regarding remote work and just the workplace?
Yeah, I mean, I think once you have flexibility, it's hard to take it away. So in 2021, we decided to remain in a work from anywhere. So our firm is 400 people. We're on track to do between 80 and 85 million this year. We have team members in 25 states and 6 countries. We have clients in 47 states. So sort of that physical requirement, in my mind, is no longer there. But I'm also a leader that doesn't like mandates, never have. I tend to lead with context versus control. So guidelines and transparency. How do we make work from anywhere a win-win for the for the team member and for the company. It's accountability and responsibility on both sides, quite frankly. And we have to shift how we're training, how we're developing people, how we communicate. So we've created programs. I think that there's a lot of sometimes individual bias. That's not how I did it. I don't know how they learn by not sitting in a room. I had this conversation with someone this morning. There's ways to do that in a smarter way. It takes more intention, takes better communication, takes some creativity. And so that's just where we sit. But the other thing, so I was on a panel at Engage. I represented Work From Anywhere. There was someone hybrid, someone in office all the time. And the clear message was that it's not one size fits all. And it really depends on your culture, your people, your clients, what motivates them. And so, I think people need to make sure that they are talking to their team, because we all need to hire and retain talent, top talent. And so we can't just ignore, how they feel they work best. And so that constant sort of surveying and discussions is important. We created a Gen Z committee. It's called EPIC, Early Professional Insight Committee. I wanted to know, how do you view the future of work? If we're going to grow our firm and we want to remain independent, we need future leaders. So how are they thinking about their future career and workplace? How do they see themselves working 10, 15 years from now? And that's very intentional for us, and we're listening.
So I'd like to, Janine, you want to follow up to that?
Well, I actually listened to this session that Carla just referenced, an Engage session, and thought it was very informative. The Alabama Society is a small company. I mean, we've struggled with, what do we do? Should we come back full? Should we do certain days? And I think we found our sweet spot, but it is it's a number one question that when we do firm visits or any visits across the state, what are other companies doing? Are they back in the office full time? Are they, this, that, or the other? And to Carla's point, it's not a one size fits all. And there are certain factors that will make whatever the decision is successful. And I believe that communication is the number one thing. You can't have remote employees and just not talk to them, or just, they're out there, but they're not incorporated into everything that you do. I mean, you know that.
Yep.
And another piece of it, which is not the easiest thing to do, even though this word will make you think it's easy, you still have to bring some element of fun into the workforce. You've got to be intentional about doing something that is not work-related. And we try to do that. I think all firms try to do that, just to have, whether it's a community event or whether it's a leadership development event for your team, whatever it is, if you've got these different setups, different ways that you are working, you've got to be open with communication. It's got to be frequent, and you've got to mix in a little bit of fun and intentionality of the conversations and the work that you're doing with your team.
I love it. We've got a few minutes left, so I want to kind of shift to Carla the volunteer. Again, the role that you've played with AICPA, it's hard to imagine this, but I mean, traveling all over the country and doing the things you've done as again, rising to chairman of the AICPA, has all been on a volunteer basis. Mm-hmm. What have you gotten out of it? and I'll follow that up by, there's a sacrifice to be made. Your firm was doing without you
right.
a lot of times. So, I guess on top of that, what did this firm get out of it? As a result.
Yeah, well, I feel a little blessed. I started volunteering for my state, Massachusetts Society of CPAs, as a new managing partner. It was probably way too late in my career, honestly, to get involved with the state society, so I encourage all the young listeners to get involved early.
Yes, please.
It was a game changer for my network. I always thought, why am I going to network with my peers? It doesn't make sense. They're not potential clients. But the power of that peer network is huge. And so by volunteering there got me on some of the committees, and my participation earned me a nomination and a vote onto the board. My participation in the board at the state level earned me a nomination for vice chair and a leadership. That got me to AICPA Council, and I was blown away. I credit a lot of our growth trajectory. So I mentioned this morning in our session, when I stepped into a managing partner role, we were 38 years old and $16 million in revenue. We will close this year from 2011 to 80 to 85 million. And so that
incredible.
Independent organic growth is possible, but you need someone who's keeping an external view, who can connect the dots on what's happening, bring it back to the firm, and create positive change. So I credit being an AICPA counsel, listening to Barry Melanson talk about the future and what's happening with a lot of our success. So I was lucky enough that our partners really understood that, because I talked about it. Hey, I'm listening to this. We need to start a CAS practice. Our CAS practice is like 8 years old and 14 million in revenue. Like there's, and then our technology, when Barry was talking about blockchain, it made me start our tech practice inside the firm. It has been a game changer. So when it came time to, had a potential to be nominated for vice chair, my partners were like, yes, we see what an external view has done for us, our firm, our growth. We support you. And so I do feel blessed with that. And I guess my biggest learning is how much impact I would have. I mean, sometimes you think, okay, I'm going into this role, but nobody's going to care about what I have to say. I couldn't have been more wrong. Our story is inspiring for other people. I have lots of managing partners of firms around the country reaching out to me on the regular. And I share liberally. I believe in the power of collaboration, that we can learn from each other, and we should use each other as growth accelerators and not look at each other as competitors all the time. There's a lot we could do together.
Absolutely.
So I was happy to hear that on your panel this morning about collaboration and the power of collaboration.
Right. I mean, well, we wouldn't have the success in Alabama legislatively if we weren't collaborating.
Right.
Both the practitioner, without regard to what industry, as well as our legislators. I mean, it's just been key. But certainly, our own volunteers and what they bring to our discussions, whether it's the board or whether it's a subsidiary board, the YCPA cabinet, they're all learning these same networking tools and how it benefits them professionally to go outside of their comfort zone, go outside of their own organization, and, pay it forward, for lack of better words. And, we're very, very thankful for that. And I'll plug all day long. If you are listening to this and you have a notion to get involved with the Alabama Society of CPAs in any volunteer role, you can just reach out to myself or to Rob, and we will happily plug you in.
Excellent.
There are and then even further, AICPA, we talked about it, volunteer roles available there as well. One final question, because I think you have maybe one event left. And then what? What does Carla McCall do with her time?
My last state is Montana. So tomorrow I fly from Birmingham, Alabama to Whitefish something, Montana. I think I have that right. Wow. And give this similar presentation that I did this morning, and that's officially my last duty. And so I get to go back full time to managing our firm, and we're in significant transformation and growth, and I couldn't be more excited because I love to live in strategy and vision.
So that just means our next trip to Puerto Rico can be just for fun.
Yes! Yay!
Our first trip was work-related. Yes.
That's where we really got to know each other.
I just got back from there for a work-related trip.
Nice.
But I recommend it. Highly recommend it. We had a great
time. 5-star resort on the beach helps.
It's so nice.
No complaints here.
Yeah, right.
I promise you. Well, again, Carla McCall, thank you again for all the service you've done over the years, and congratulations on sort of wrapping that up and
thank you.
And getting back home and sort of off the road, I guess, for lack of a better way of putting it. But I mean, your time has been transformational for the profession, and thank you for that. Not just your leadership, but what has been accomplished. I think has been incredible. So, and again, you've got good leaders behind you, whether it's Lexi Kessler or Jan Lewis, who's now the chairman, and so it's just fascinating what's going on with AICPA. We couldn't be prouder to be a part of it. And then, of course, you say no more about the leadership of the State Society of CPAs. She's the best, and you know that. So
I do.
From a national perspective, you know that as well. So again, thank you for your time. And
we're so grateful.
Appreciate
grateful for your
you
time.
guys.
Grateful for your leadership.
Grateful for yours as well. Thank you.
We look forward to the rest of the day of our annual meeting. So we're having a great time here. You've been listening to the Alabama CPA podcast.